Hey everyone, I'm Nick, and this is my $400 2001 Mercedes S-Class. Last week I tried to get this car ready to be back on the road in just one day. So I installed a new bumper, fixed up a little piece of trim, and got completely stumped by the PSC system. Because it's really complicated. What's that? I see. I've been informed that I missed a critical step while I worked on the PSC pump. Now I replaced the impeller, but I didn't check the output pressure of the pump after doing that, and that is a critical step. So I want to say thank you to the commenters who mentioned that. So the PSC system requires 3 bar or 43 psi of pressure to work properly, and since I didn't check that, I don't know that I rebuilt it properly, and that may be the whole issue in this car. So today we're going to adjust the pump and make sure it's working properly. And then we'll take care of a couple other bits and pieces, like the door actuator that blew off in the driver door, and hopefully it'll be ready to go back on the road. So let's get to it. All right, so just like last time, we're going to pull these connectors off. I've color-coded our hose manifolds, and we're gonna release these by pushing, there's like 2 tabs. As you can see, these are the clips that hold them in, so you just gotta push them inward a little bit, pry up. Same thing on the other side and on the other one as well. Okay, next, find this here, pry it apart. Well, we gotta pull these hoses off here. There we go. And we're actually gonna desolder these this time. So I marked ground on this side and positive on this side. Okay. And you can also see here, probably could have aligned this a bit better. Okay, these are T10s. We're gonna realign them first. Go. You can see here, you want to make sure these are nice and aligned. I've got a battery right here, and we're going to power this and test it out. So I'm going to ground the ground tab here. We're going to pop a fuse on this too. So I'm going to grab a fuse here, grab my positive here. If I push the ground here, touch it to the battery. Yep. Okay. The pressure side is here. And I'm going to use a little pump here because I have an attachment for it that will fit in here. So just thread this on. This is going to be like a multi-handed thing. So just pop that in here. Hold that, touch this. 67, that's pretty high. That's pretty high. So overpressure, maybe? Okay, 39. Tighten it back up a tiny bit. Okay, 43 psi. Excellent. I probably should have tested before we made the adjustments to see if it was low or even high, I guess. Now we just have to bring this back, solder these back on. Okay. Let's reassemble it now. All right, everything's seated properly. Line up the nub here with the other one to get the right orientation. Boom. All right, let's connect this battery back up. Pump's running. It worked! Did you see that? It worked! But that one didn't work. Unlock. Nice. Okay, we still have some leaks to deal with, but I can't believe it. I feel stupid. But also, we learned something. All right, let's see. Oh wait, I can just test this here. And now this. Yep, soft close worked. Still have a leak type situation here. Okay, you can stop now. Okay. Sounds like we have a leak in there, but. Oh, okay. And that probably means that does this work if I lock it? That worked. So I was thinking about it, and I forgot that the way the cap over here that blew off works is part of it is the actuator for the soft close, but there's also like a valve that sends air to the lock actuator, the air solenoid in there. So that's why this still works. And the whole problem was the pressure over there. That one's not going down. So I have to check that one. That works, that works. Passenger door works, trunk works. Whew, that's awesome. So you know what this means? I probably could have made it a one-day rebuild, but I didn't check quite thoroughly enough on the rebuild process of installing the new impeller, and here we are. But you live and you learn. Big thanks to you guys out there who commented about the PSC pump pressure. You're right. Now, I gotta figure out what that rear passenger door is doing, because that lock isn't coming up and down. It could be a leak on the lock actuator, so maybe we'll have to open that door up. And I still want to fix the soft close on this door, so we will be doing that next. Oh, let's see. Does this soft close work? Oh. Yeah, all right. I know that one definitely doesn't work. Let's see, the passenger door. Okay, it's leaking too. Okay, so the passenger door soft close actuator is also damaged, probably just like on the driver's side. Let's find out this one. Something's going on. Honestly, if the door lock isn't working, probably the whole thing isn't working, so we'll have to investigate this later. But let's focus on the driver door first. Now, right here I have a rebuild kit. You can see this is the part that broke. These tab slots all broke off on this one. That's why it's loose, completely loose. And you get a couple parts here. So what I have to do is figure out if I can repair this in place or what. Like, I just have to, there's a little electrical harness in here and a hose that goes from this line and then passes air through to the rest of the assembly for the lock. So I wonder maybe if I can remove the hose off of this. Let me show you. And there's just a rubber hose off of this that goes to the rest of the assembly. So if I can pop that off, this should be able to move down further, potentially enough for me to repair it or replace it in place. It's just a little harness that travels over it. And then a couple wires that go inside here because there's a solenoid in here and this part of the assembly that we would swap into here because this comes together like that. So you gotta take this hose off. You get a zip tie here holding these lines and wires in place. And then right here we could separate this, which is held on with tabs in here, and then these two. I used 2 small screwdrivers to carefully separate the parts. Okay, we gotta gently separate this. You can see right here, moisture got in, I guess. But you can see the, this here is the solenoid. And you can see all the tabs here are broken. So this isn't sealing on the plunger thing for the soft close, and so it's not working. All right, we got to pull this out gently. I'm going to pry out the solenoid really carefully. Pry out the connector too. And this stuff just wiggles out a bit. There we go. And this would drop right back in here in the new one. Okay, and then we have to swap this line over from here to here. You want to really be careful with the gray part. If the white breaks, it's not a big deal. If this breaks, we got to replace this line. So right here is the part, the lock assembly off of a facelift version. You can see here we have essentially the same part, and this is what needs to be actuated by this cylinder. We'll push in and out to pull the door shut. And what we're doing right here is, we get the line there. This is what we're looking at, and this here is the hose that pops onto here. So right now I have this piece still attached to the car, and we're just swapping over the new air line onto this piece. The part is not cross-compatible from facelift to pre-facelift and vice versa, but I believe this piece is the same. Okay, we're missing O-rings in here. Here I'm removing the seals from the original part because the ones included with the new part don't really fit. Can reuse those seals. The black seal in first. Just push that down in here. It has to sit all the way in. There we go. That's better. So these are the two pieces that attach there. We've got our top part over here. Maybe I snapped this on after. Let's see. I didn't end up being able to install the cap with the assembly in place, but it may be possible for you. As we'll see later, that might not have worked for me anyway. Alright, so I'm going to work on removing, or at least loosening the door lock assembly so I can drop it down and hopefully work on it better to reattach the new part. And to do that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and then there's one on the side here. We have to release the actual key lock from the outside. We're going to have to remove this, and it should drop down. I have a whole video for the facelift. It looks like it's going to be the same procedure. Release the door handle catch. 30. Okay. If you want to remove this completely, you're going to want to undo the rivets down here to push this out of the way. It's kind of a pain, but certainly the best way to do it. I'm going to leave this one in until I get the door lock out. Pop the cap off here. It's also captive, so you don't have to worry about it falling out, luckily. It's right here. This little connector you have to remove. And that one has to stay inside the door. There we go, got our lock. So pop that wire down, remove this, drop it down, and then we can work on reassembling it. You can see this is the part that's sticking out right here. It's not really giving us much better access, honestly. Okay, there we go. I think I got it. I think I got it. Nope, not completely, almost. Do I just drill these out? Okay, feels like it's on. All right, well, now we can slide it back in. I got it. Now, if this is working, okay, that didn't work. It's just leaking now, but I don't know where it's leaking from. It's leaking somewhere around the back. All right, well, let's take it back out and we'll figure it out. I guess you could take this out and reattach it once it's up there. Let's see. There's a hole here because one of the teeth is broken, so maybe I have to patch that with like epoxy or something. But I'm trying to figure out where I'm getting a leak. I realize there's something I want to try before I try epoxy or anything. I want to pop it off, reinstall it after depressing the plunger, and maybe that will help. I have to be really careful that I don't break this as I remove it. Oh geez. Oh, that sucks. No wonder it didn't seal. The whole edge of this ripped off. Just as it had weakened enough, so it just sheared off, or cracked finally, so I couldn't get a seal. So it doesn't matter what was happening here, this wasn't going to work, because it just wasn't sealing anymore. Okay. Yeah, what I was going to try was to like push this in, but now that this is broken, there's no point. Like, all of this one had chipped off, these are all broken. It's actually the same thing that happened on this one too. This one just cracked off here, in addition to the white part breaking. Though technically, if we let this just hang out, the door lock will still work, so but we're not going to do that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do the repair in place, repair the leak on the lock actuator. It's working, but it's slower. And I'm going to try to attach this with epoxy. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually push this plunger in and kind of lock it in place so that it's not in the way. Use a little extension here, drop it in. So that way this is kind of up here and I can line it up properly. And you know what, while I'm here, I'm also going to disconnect this rubber hose. There we go, that'll give us a little more room to maneuver. So let's see, let's line this up in here. We want to put this in here. We don't really have any more teeth to grab onto it, so it's a little harder. Okay, I'm going to use some mechanics wire to try to hold it in place while I plan. You know what? No, I got to scuff this surface first. I'm going to epoxy it together, so. But I have to decide, do I fill these first? Because the sealing material is in here. I also don't want to get epoxy on that, so maybe I can seal these openings first. We'll have to see. So I don't have much experience with mechanics wire, but this should be able to put a little bit of pressure on it. And if I do that in 2 spots, it'll hold it flush while I put the epoxy on, and we should be good. I can cut this off once it's epoxied. Now I have to decide, do I try to plug these up first? Okay, so I'm going to start with steel stick, just to fill up the areas where the tabs on the actuator side broke off. Got a little knife to cut a piece off of this, and then we're going to massage it with gloved hands and just drop it in there. And then after that, over the top, we'll put on 2-part JB weld, and hopefully that will work. I've seen some people just go straight up epoxy over it, but I kind of want to protect the like rubber seal inside if I can. So we want it to get to a uniform color, and then we can just fill those gaps in. Since this isn't wet, it should allow us to little shapes that'll block those up, and then we'll cover it with the epoxy. So this shouldn't stick to the inner seal there. Okay, looks like our stuff is the right consistency. I got a little logs here. And just kind of block those up here. Oh, it smells horrible, horrible, horrible. Yeah, it's getting hard already. Alright, we're out of time for this. And we're going to let this cure for a while. I think it hardens up in like 6 minutes, they say. 3 to 5 minutes set, so it's pretty fast. And then 60 minutes so you can like sand it and stuff. I don't know if we'll sand it. Yeah, it should be rough enough for the rest of the epoxy to get on there, so. Wow, that is rock solid, okay. I have a piece of cardboard here. I've got a stick, paint stirrers, and I got the JB Weld. This is the plastic bonder. Let me put gloves on again. Oh, there we go. I don't know if this will be enough, but that's... And that is exactly why I didn't want to use it first, because it could have gotten into the membrane in there. And then I'm also going to tuck some in here for the lock actuator. And the reason I'm doing this instead of replacing it is because replacing it isn't always cheap, especially if you go for a new part. It's actually can be really expensive. The new part for the facelift one is like almost $900. It's crazy. And used, you're still looking at like $150 on eBay, and then you have an older part that might still have, you know, this might happen to anyway. So you gotta keep that in mind. And you can just do this at home. And hopefully it'll work. And if it doesn't, I'll let you know too. So, all right, let's let that cure and we'll be back and we can test it. Okay, they've let this cure for a good long while. I have to pull out the little extension I used. There we go. Oh, forgot something critical. This hose has to go back on here. Otherwise we get nothing. There we go. Alright, let's try again. We're going to watch in here for the lock, and then we'll push this with the screwdriver for the soft close. Unlock. Lock. That moved. Unlock. Okay, that works. Well, the good news is the lock seems to respond faster. Well, let me see something here. Seems like it's leaking potentially through here, like through this seal. It feels like the air is coming out past this plunger, and so it's not plunging. Okay. All right, so here's what I think happened. See how here on this piece, this chipped off? We also have it's chipped off in this one too. And what I wonder is if, since I didn't rebuild this back up, it's preventing this edge from sealing in there. So maybe I should have somehow, you know, built up an edge, maybe with that putty, smoothed it out to make it a flat circle to allow this to seal properly on it. So maybe that was a mistake, and maybe it's just a little too damaged to seal properly, which is unfortunate. I took off the white plastic panel. This actually just clips off, and shining light through the housing, I'm trying to look at the seal. Oh yeah, I can actually see the lip of the seal, and that is where it's not sealing. Yep. Okay, that's the issue. All right, that is too bad. I should have, well, you live and you learn. Don't make the mistake I made. So yeah, definitely if you're gonna rebuild it like this, you wanna make sure you still have a surface here that's flat. So I would probably say maybe build up a layer of epoxy, sand it smooth at the top, and then epoxy the new part on. All right, well, still a little more work to do. But at the very least, we have our lock working really well. This here, this little dab of epoxy I put in here, has worked really well. It's like nice and responsive on the lock and unlock, so that's really good. So I gotta cut through here to get this off. Gotta find what method to use to cut this off. Make sure I don't cut these wires. I'm gonna pry this off. There we go. So here's the issue. I think this couldn't seal because this area here is supposed to form a seal with the part in here, and because it chipped off, this whole area is is too low, and so air can escape around it. So I'm glad we were able to get this off. So I got to build up this lip around here. Maybe I can pop these bits out, because it was sealed around the edge. It just wasn't sealed through here, because this is just open. This has to be sealed so that this plunger gets pushed in when air is fed into this actuator. Here I tried to use the putty to rebuild the lip, but it didn't bond to the assembly well enough when I tried to shape it. There may be a better material to rebuild it, but if you have the pieces that chipped off the original part, you could glue those back into place. I came up with a different solution to test instead. I don't know. Gotta figure it out. Okay, more thinking. Alright, I am back. And I have a 3D printed thing that I'm gonna try. I made a little ring that's supposed to fit in here, and it doesn't. So I wanted to make something I could slot in to fill the putty or epoxy or something to build up the level properly, or potentially just drop it in. The idea was that I could place it here as like a level, and that makes something that will seal. Now there's actually a possibility that I could, that this might seal enough to actually work as like a replacement insert, which would be pretty cool, but... Okay, I'm back with a new one. Will this work? Did I do it right? Oh yeah. And what I'm actually curious is, will this, just like this seal, maybe I can, yeah, maybe just like this. So I'm gonna test, it could potentially work just like this, and that's what I'm gonna try to find out. Would this do it? So I did make this a couple millimeters thick, which may be too thick. But if I made it 1 millimeter, it might work. Oh, it worked. With the right amount of pressure, it works. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. Because the idea is that this replaces the lip that was here, and then we're good. So it's time to do a little bit of cleaning to prep this. One prototype, I made it a little longer, the lip's a little thinner, the skirt's a little longer. I'm gonna glue this in here, just a little bit of glue in a couple spots to hold it in place. I got a setting spray so I don't have to hold it in place for a long time. Gotta make sure I hold it in the right level so it actually sits level. Flip this down, align it, line that up, put some mechanics wire on it. So we'll hold that in place. We'll test it with the wire holding it, and then we'll epoxy it. Now when I tested it by hand, the air system puts a lot of pressure on it. So I may consider leaving these mechanics wires in to, like, as a reinforcement, but we'll see. Actuate it here, and then that works. Cool, just with this, perfect. So you could leave it like this, but we're going to seal it up with epoxy. Now this spacer I made, this lip, the new lip I made, means the cap sits slightly higher than it did before, but it doesn't look like it's going to be an issue for the operation here. So at this time I have quick weld, quick setting. Should work a little better than the plastic bond. Not that the plastic bond had any issues, the issue was we had a leak. So I think plastic bond should work as well. Alright, it's starting to set, so I can do another little bit on here. And the idea is that way I can build it up, but right now it's holding itself in place, which is good. I may just leave these wires on when I put it back in, because that way it'll be like a fail-safe. Like if the epoxy cracks, it'll prevent it from going flying. We'll be back in a couple of hours, let this cure, and then we'll test it again. And then we can pop it in. All right, let's do a test. Locked. Unlocked. That works. Awesome. I think I am going to leave these wires on just for peace of mind. I don't know that it's 100% necessary. I can start putting this back together. We have to make sure this stays up at the top, and we'll see it on the car. Put this door back together. I will change the glass later, because I'm running out of time for this video. But when we do this glass, we'll also fix the other doors, and maybe we'll use the same method if we need to. But that looks like it's gonna work. All right, so we're gonna start going in. Yeah, we'll have to have that open here like this. If you want a little extra room, you can also pivot this bar out of the way. This is leaking again. Oh, okay. I think I didn't align the actuator thing properly or something, and it's touching the door, which means it pushed it away and broke the seal. So, oh yeah, I see what I did. Okay. See what happened here? I mounted it and it is pointed inward, and I needed to have it straight. And this epoxy split here, so I guess it wasn't cured enough. Did not realize how critical that would be, and I didn't notice. Yeah, you want to make sure you're working in this plane so that this is straight, or straighter, I guess. All right, let's try it again. Okay, I've re-removed this. Okay. And this epoxy is still pretty soft, so maybe I didn't let it cure enough. Unless it's not curing right because it's humid. I don't think so. I'm glad my issue was the alignment and not the part I made. If it's supposed to go straight, this is supposed to go straight up and down. Did I just orient this wrong? Maybe I have to clock it over a little bit. Because I think this part was touching. But yeah, I guess that's right. Has to be, yeah, that should work. This has to line up here. Let me get a marker. So you can actually see one of the original nubs. So maybe I can use that as a reference here. Ah. Higher humidity levels in the air cause longer cure times for JB Weld. Okay. That would have been nice to know before. Okay. I guess I'm gonna align this. This time I used 4 pieces of mechanics wire to really make sure it was in the right position when I put it in. I think this is okay. I could test fit it, I guess. That seems good. Okay. All right, sounds like I have to let this cure overnight. Okay, so a slight change of plans. I've decided to put it in before it's completely cured so I can know if it shifts once I put it in. That way I can test it and it should be okay. So. All right, please work. Okay. Don't forget to reattach the door handle lever arm. Okay, we'll let that cure overnight, but it's actually in place now. Everything's tightened up, and it is actuating the lock. So if that cure's in place, the epoxy will be in the right place, everything will be sealed, and we will be okay. I should also put the lock back in place here. So we'll just pop this in. Put this cap back on. Alright, so I'm gonna let this cure overnight, and then we'll put the door back on. Oh no, I gotta do these. I keep forgetting that, geez. 2 new rivets in. right there. They're 3/16. Those work well. Locked in, all right. Okay, this is cured overnight. Check things here. Epoxy feels nice and solid. Everything seems good. I'm gonna put this on too. It's nice little. Okay. Lock. Moves down. Unlock. Moves up. Yes. There it is. That's really good. So it looks like our soft close actuator for the driver door is repaired, and our PSE system works again. I still need to replace the glass in that door and repair the soft close on the passenger side and the lock and soft close on the rear passenger side, but we'll get to that soon. Now in the meantime, this has to get out of the garage for just a little bit before I work on those other things because I had an issue on another one of my vehicles. So I have to figure out what happened and what part I need to order. But we'll be back on this very soon. Now, if you're interested in that 3D printed part I used, let me know in the comments. I do want to test it out a little further to make sure it's really working properly and that it actually lasts. And I may also use it on the passenger side if it's the same type of damage as on the driver's side. So stay tuned for that too. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like. And if you have any other questions about the process, let me know down in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe because this will be back on the channel very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.